In today's Inform in 100, we look back at the early years of the country's election process. George Cahiles has this special report.
Historians say that the Tejeros Convention in Cavite can be considered as the country's first election. Andres Bonifacio, the Supremo of the Katipunan, was invited to attend the convention on the pretext of reuniting Magdalo and Magdiwang factions in fight against the Spaniards. At that meeting, however, the Katipuneros demanded an election that replaced the Katipunan with a revolutionary government, one that displaced Bonifacio.
In a way, that isa sa mga una nating halalan bilang isang bansa, hindi lang yung chismisa ng dayaan ang nangyari. Nagkaroon pa nung isa sa mga early political killings with the death, execution, and murder of Andres Bonifacio.
Chua says that the Tejeros Convention somehow foretold how things would go in the future elections in the Philippines. Since then, Philippine elections have been marred with fraud and violence.
But Filipinos are frightened. Villagers know the gunmen and the army will be around long after the observers are gone.
After the Philippines gained its independence from Spain in 1898, the Revolutionary Congress convened at the Barasoin Church in Malolos, Bulacan to draw up a constitution for the first Philippine Republic. When the first Philippine Republic was proclaimed the following year, Emilio Aguinaldo served as president. In both the Tejeros and Malolos conventions, the masses were not allowed to participate.
That in the next 100 years and above, again, ito na yung reflection na elite democracy talaga yung umiiral. Na ang mga nagiging pinuno sa eleksyon ay yung mga, at sa pamahalaan, ang mga nagiging pinuno ng pamahalaan ay mga mayayaman lamang.
The country's colonizers contributed to the ills of Philippine elections. Since the Spanish era until 1935, only males were given the right to vote and be elected. Under the American rule, electoral participation was limited to the educated and land-owning members of the elite. Voters should be male residents of the country, 23 years old and above, must be able to speak, read, and write English or Spanish, own real property worth at least 500 pesos, or have held local government positions prior to 1898. As a result, rivalries and personality issues among the ilustrados or the local influential families marked the succeeding elections.
So kung hindi mo papabotohin ng babae, anong ibig sabihin nun? Hindi tao yung mga babae.
Things changed when the women's movement demanded that they be allowed to vote and participate in public and political affairs. A plebiscite on April 30, 1937 validated women's right to participate in the elections.
But if we're going back to 1935, hindi pa masyadong, although popular yung election, hindi pa masyadong popularity contest. You know why? The candidate, national candidates, for example, Manuel Quezon, they don't need to go barrio to barrio. They don't need to go town to town. All they need to do is have an organized political leader to go to these places. Mahalaga yung plaza eh.
The face of the Philippine elections changed in 1952 when Defense Secretary Ramon Magsaysay, a former Liberal Party member, ran for president under the Nacionalista Party against re-electionist President Elpidio Quirino.
But then Magsaysay initiated the barrio-to-barrio campaign because he was a very attractive personality. He was tall, big, ruggedly handsome, and his eyes caught the people's attention.
Yung isang handshake can do so much. Na makita ka sa personal, ang gwapo-gwapo pala niya, ang kinis pala ng itsura niya, hindi pala siya suplado, ang lambot-lambot ng kamay niya, ang bango-bango niya. Lahat ito ay nakaka-add doon sa mystique ng kandidato para siya ay ihalal. Hindi lang sa kanyang plataforma at hindi lang sa kanyang sinasabi. And so, nasilang na yung halalan natin bilang isang total popularity contest.
He won almost 69%, the highest ever votes. No? So, yeah, no. 2, he was the youngest to be elected president. 3, He was the only president we had who did not have a college degree. He didn't finish in UP. He didn't finish in Jose Rizal College.
Adding to Magsaysay's mass appeal was his campaign jingle Mambo Magsaysay, which became a hit. And this campaign strategy gave him a landslide victory over Quirino. Magsaysay got a total of 70% of votes during that election. George Cahiles, Solar News.